In this video, I'm going to show you everything you have to know about Frieren, the new gacha character. So that includes how good she is in raids, dimensions, and in general every game mode, and if you should get her. Now, I've done this with a lot of testing, so this is not just like me rating her out of nothing. I have tested her and a lot of other characters in a various amount of things, so this is just completely fair. This is where I test things, so in my spreadsheet, which is accessible in my description, subscribe if you want more showcases and for me to work on this continuously and more video showcases. This is my spreadsheet. I try to get information on all the moves, specific information that not a lot of other people have gotten, damage, energy gain, and anything like that, also M1 things, and then all the tests. So in the end of this video, you're gonna know everything about Frieren, and yeah, let's get into it. Her first ability is nothing special, decent damage, decent energy gain, and a regular cooldown. The second ability resets the first ability, has better damage and better energy gain, but that's about it. Third ability also resets the second ability, so she has a good combo with it, stronger and more energy gain as well. The fourth ability is really strong and it buffs if you have the accessory, a pretty long duration move though with a lot of energy gain. One thing to note is that Frieren has the best M1s in the game. The pattern has more damage and more energy gain than regular M1s. The fifth ability is the strongest ability in the game, and after it's used it also continues to deal damage for 45 seconds the whole duration and good energy gain, and yeah. Her assist is also really strong with a 35% attack bonus as the effects. She is one of the best assists in the game. In the burst test you try to get as much damage as possible in 10 seconds, and actually she would get so much more damage with just like 12 seconds because she can't use her full combo because she has such a good combo. Still, she's really good at quick damage, so she's really good in burst test. You can also see that she's really good at just dealing quick amount of damage really fast, because in the boss rush test she's really good. And this is due to her fifth ability being so strong, every other ability just comboing so well so you can spam a lot of them. She's just in general a good character for boss rush and maybe speed raid, and one of the best ones in boss rush. In the regular dimension she's okay. While she doesn't have a dash, she has the fourth ability which gives her a speed boost, and also the fact that all of her abilities are really fast to use except for the fourth and maybe fifth, it's kind of fast, and they all are pretty strong and can one shot basically everything. She has no like move that makes you sit in place. Out of the first, second, and third abilities, they can just spam it and use a lot of moves. She can just run through the dimension, though she does not have a dash. But she has pretty good AoE and pretty good damage. She still is pretty good in dimensions, in a regular dimension at least. Though in a speed run, so basically if you try to speed run with her, she's not good at all. If you one shot everything, literally everything in the game, then she's not good in speedrunning. It's actually better to not use the fourth ability because just running through would be better, even though she gets a speed boost here. But it's just not worth it because she was worse than just doing like a character that doesn't have a speed boost and just go through it. Well, she doesn't have a dash, she doesn't have a viable speed boost, so she does not do very well in this test, so I would not recommend using her for speedrunning. However, for most of you guys, she's actually really good in dimension, because most of you guys don't get to speedrun. Maybe you beat the dimension in like 10 minutes, the hardest dimension. So then just having a dash is not that important. So then just damage is fine. So in the one card test, to simulate how beginners just have it a harder time to just beat the dimension, have to use multiple moves to kill enemies, the one card test she's actually really good at, because you don't need a speed boost, you just need damage, and she's really good at quick succession of damage. In a raid with just bad gears, no good pets and no good cards and everything like that, she's actually pretty good because her awakening move makes her abilities really strong. and you can spam a lot with her anyway, because every move basically resets another. And the fourth ability is increasing your attack range, so you can attack for a longer distance, but it's not really that much. One thing to keep in mind is that my tests are 1 minute in Monkey Raid. So awakening moves are have an advantage because they buff for like 30 seconds, while the cooldown is for like 125 seconds. So the optimal way would be to test all characters for 125 seconds, so awakening moves do not have an advantage. So in this test, Frieren actually has a big advantage because, well, her awakening move is 45 seconds, while most other awakening moves are 30 seconds. So not only does awakening moves have an advantage in general, Frieren has an even larger advantage because it's 45 seconds, and she gets 50% more damage. So in this test, in bad gear test and this good gear test as well, she actually performs really good, better than like every character in the game. Though I did test her just in general in a full, like just relative to a full raid, so the awakening move does not have an advantage, and then she did slightly worse, which is why she has two different numbers. The left one is the actual test that is fair, but she has an advantage, and the right one is more realistic to how good she's gonna perform in an actual raid. Either way, she's really good with good gear as well. The Garo pet just resets her moves even more, so she can spam this even more. But in general, she's really good, but just slightly worse than Guts, I believe. Oh, and one thing to keep in mind, she does have a 50% character bonus in this raid. So in the bad gear test, I divided by 1.5, and the good gear test, I already used Levi, so everyone has the 50% damage test, and now she makes it so it's a 100% buff, so I divided by 1.33 instead. So that's why the damage is lower than the damage is on the scorecard. And the best gear, I just divided by 1.5 again. In general, I don't know what's happened here, because she barely gets more damage in the best gear test than in the good gear test. It might just be that she doesn't really benefit from celestial damage because she can still just spam everything, but still you should get more damage because celestial does increase your damage and you have better assists here. So it's probably something weird with how they calculate character bonuses, and you can't just do 1.5 and 1.33, etc. I'm not sure. Otherwise, in this test, she's on par with Guts, but in general, more realistically, she's about the same as Kurumi and worse than like Every Christmas, maybe top 5. I also did another test because I just wanted to see how good Frieren is compared to Guts in just the meta raid. So with Guts, I got 116 billion damage in a solo raid, and with Frieren, I got 106 billion damage in a solo raid with a divine card. So that's slightly less without a divine card. You can actually calculate the exact amount with the main stats and everything. But she's about 85% as good as Guts, and that also checks in with the stats I'm gonna show you now, compared to Guts and everything like that. So she's not the best, but still 85% as good as Guts is still really good. So here's the overview again. You got all the moves, the M1 I talked about, the assist DPS, which I didn't show, but here's the assist DPS. And yeah, like the damage, it's really inconsistent because she has an advantage. So I tried my best to actually make it fair. These numbers don't tell you much though. So in the tier list that I'm trying to create and trying to fulfill, I have a lot of work to do still. Mainly because I need to get Celestial. Oh, I've done something wrong here. I need to get Celestial on the characters to continue this. These two bars, I don't need Celestial. Anyway, this is a Frieren video, doesn't matter. Frieren is really good in bad gear. Now the test has an advantage to her, so she's really overpowered. But if she's more balanced and more realistically, she actually still got 70 million, so she's still better than Kurumi. This might be wrong, but she might just be the best character in the game for non-pets. I'm not sure. Frieren is just really annoying to test because my test is just a very bad test for awakening moves, advantages to awakening moves in general, so it's not that good. Same with good gear. She's insanely good, and then she's still the best even with the realistic amounts. So in general, I should have tested my characters in like a 125-second test instead. But yeah, now I haven't, and all these characters I've already tested, so she's an outlier. This might not be how good she actually is, but she is still really good, and both with bad gear, and good gear, and also best gear. If you have the best gear in the game, she is really good. I haven't tested Saber Christmas here. I haven't tested all characters that are there, but there she is really good. She is on par with Guts in the actual test, but like realistically, relative to 1 minute with a full raid, she's worse than Saber Christmas, about the same as Kurumi. She's still really good in general. And then dimensions, she is not the best here. Frieren is really good in regular and one card, but I haven't really tested other characters with dashes, so probably won't be this good in general. And as a speedrun, yeah, you can just see how bad she is actually at speedrunning. Burst test, she's really good, almost on par with Guts. Yeah, better than Kurumi and everything, and she's the best in boss rush so far, which makes sense that she's better than Guts. She has better burst potential, and her assist, I put it the best in the game, though some people say that Dio is the best. Though, okay, so the DPS, Frieren takes it. They both have the same cooldown, and at 25% boss damage or 35% attack, it can depend on your stats, but in general, for my stats, it was like the boss damage was like maybe 2 to 5% better than an attack. So in general, Dio might be better because 25% boss damage is probably better than 35% attack, but that can also depend on stats. And also the reason why Kurumi was better than Guts was because, well, you don't use 2 boss damage. So if you use Guts and Kurumi, it's better than Guts and Madoka because you overfill the boss damage. In general, we assume that Kurumi is the second best assist in the game because Dio and Kurumi was the best, and instead of Dio and Guts. But I'm not sure about Frieren being the best. Either way, she's really close to being the best. Otherwise, she's the second best assist in the game, and she's also a character buff in a lot of raids. Specifically the meta raid, the divine raid right now as well. Now that's everything about Frieren, and she is really good. She's one of the best characters in the game, and I would definitely not say she's bad. If you get her and you only have like raid characters, she's gonna be the best thing you have, and she's really good. However, to get her, you have to be lucky on the elf event, and I don't think you should generally spin in this event, so I don't recommend getting her, because you should definitely get the 3-year gacha instead, because the 3-year gacha you can get these 5 characters, and Guts is really good. There are just better alternatives. Also, this 3-year event ends in 22 days, while this elf event or Frieren event ends in 85 days. So you have a lot more time to get Frieren, so you should definitely go on the 3-year gacha instead of Frieren. So I would not recommend getting her right now, but once the 3-year event is over, you would definitely get Frieren, because she is meta assist, meta in the new raid with assist, and in general, she's really good without a pet, she's really good with a pet, and she's just really good in general in the game. So she's really good, but I would not recommend getting her. She's meta as an assist, but that's about it. So yeah, that's about everything in this video. So I hope you enjoyed it, and see you in the next one.